week we tackled a snack cabinet for our guest room that includes a microwave and a mini fridge. We built this project for about $100 and even DIY'd the hardware using off-the-shelf washers. Head over to my website for the free plans that include the cut list, the shopping list, all the diagrams, everything you need to build this cabinet. We're the White family. We live in rural Alaska, and for us, it's DIY all day, every day. So we're back in our guest room and we've got one little tiny spot left that I can build one more piece of furniture, and of course I'm going to do that. In this spot I kind of look at it as like the snack cabinet area where, you know, our guests, if they have some leftovers, they can put their food in the fridge, a microwave if they don't want to warm it up, or you know, if they want to make some popcorn. And it needs to have a coffee maker on it, and it kind of all needs to be pretty compact. Then I was thinking we'll put a TV over it. So this is something that you would see in a hotel, and I want our guests to come in here and just feel like, this is awesome, I want to stay longer. I really want to do a barn door on it, but I didn't order the barn door slide that I was supposed to last week, so we're gonna have to MacGyver something. You're gonna have to MacGyver something. I have an idea too. So we got a jump start on the project, took a full sheet of 3/4 inch plywood, ripped it up, pretty much used all of it, and that builds the carcass, and it's all just pocket hole joinery. And then we've got the 1x2s on the back. You could really use anything here. It's just to kind of keep the top together. The front will get a face frame. So I turned on its side just to have gravity helped, and got the measurements. Really benefit from a right angle clamp. A little bit of a clamp order.
What's going on?
Sharing tools with my husband, and his hands are like 6 times stronger than mine. So I go to use my clamps and I can't clamp it.
Blame it on your husband. After the clamp got put on.
Yes. Got some help.
Oh.
No shame in getting
I think
help.
it's got some more torque than you can handle, you see that?
It does. I'm out of shape. I've been pregnant and breastfeeding for a year. All right, so we got it all put together, and gonna work on the face frame. Okay, so face frame boards are all cut. It's just 1x material, just pine off the shelf. It's really good for paint, and it's cheap and it's easy to work with. I'm gonna go drill some pocket holes. Normally we build face frames out of 1x2s, but I'm building it out of a 1x4 because I need space at the top of the cabinet for the barn system. Paper, rock, scissors. face frame is done. Let's see if we make sure it fits. Modifying to it. Looks good. And you can nail this on, but we drilled some pocket holes on the back, so we're just gonna pocket hole it on. So face frame's on, and I got the side of the footer on. And I always like to do the sides first and the front last, and I always measure the front, so that looks really good because that's what you're gonna see. So, like if the sides are a 16th off or something, you can hold that forward, you never see it, but the front you'd see. So 48 3/4 on the nose. I'm gonna cut it and then attach it. We got the face frame done, we got the footer all installed, it's looking really good. I'm gonna add a top to it. So I got 1x6 boards here. I cut them to the length that I wanted and drilled pocket holes, and now I'm just attaching them together. That's the top, and put it on here. Look at that. Okay. You know what I better do before we move too much further is make sure the microwave and the fridge fit in here. I think because the appliances are in the cabinet, I'm gonna leave the back off just so that it can vent and it's easy to get cords in and out. And once it's against the wall, the only spot in the back would show would be down here, and you can't really see that. And it saves me some plywood and some money and an extra step, so I think that's a good idea. It'll be easier to paint. I want to do a barn door in this cabinet so the fridge is concealed and then it slides and the microwave's concealed and you can use the fridge and so on. And I like barn doors because they work really well and it conserves space because you don't have anything opening and closing. But we live in rural Alaska and you can't just go and buy a barn door kit. And if you order one, it can take a while to get here, and I want to have this project done. So we went to the hardware store, and a lot of people DIY barn door hardware with those little pulleys that you can buy. But we'd be into the pulleys $10 to $20 just with the pulleys. So Jacob and I came up with a different idea. We found these washers, and they were like pennies, literally. And what we're going to do is stack them like that and put a bolt through them, and obviously we'll spray paint it and the bar will come down, and then this will roll on the flat bar. So we're talking, about 50 cents to make this versus $8 for a nice metal pulley. So not sure yet it's going to work. We're going to give it a whirl and see how it goes. So this is the hanging track, and we've got a 1-inch flat steel bar, and then wherever there's a hole drilled, you'll need a bolt, 2 washers, a spacer, and a locking nut. And we're using 1/4-inch bolt, 1/4-inch washers, a 1-inch spacer with the size for the 1/4-inch bolt, and then a locking nut. So we got one there, and one on the end. Okay, so this is our DIY barn door hangers, and this is the part that you screw to the door, and we're gonna drill some holes to attach to the door in a little bit. But basically what it is an 8-inch piece of the flat middle stock. It's the same stuff we use for the rail. We just cut it with a jigsaw, drilled a hole in it, and then the washers. And we're actually going to use 3 washers, so there's a little bit more space. Big washer, 3 small washers, another big washer, and then the hardware in the middle is the bolt, a washer, and a locking nut. And I'll link to all this in a blog post. So it'll look like that when we're done, and we're going to spray paint it. You know where the idea for the washers came from? is we didn't have the supplies, and I was thinking maybe I could take a hole saw and cut pieces of 1/4-inch plywood out and then sand it and paint it. And then I was like, wait a second, that's a washer. And so that's how that came out. And he was like, yeah, that'd work, let's do it.
I think we're gonna need a washer right here that will stop that from being squished in.
No, yeah.
And we'll need a washer on the inside, then the locking nut. That spacer might be too far.
No, because we got the door. It might be. We might change it out for a 3/4-inch spacer.
Maybe. So the great thing about this, you can build it any size you want. It's customizable. So let's say you want to build a really heavy duty one for like a big barn door. You could obviously get a thicker plate, and all you need to do is add in washers to make it to where it can still slide back and forth. As you can see, it will roll right down this thing. Now we had to experiment with trying to find out which bolts to put in here that actually would work. So I'll show you 3 different bolts. This is a 1/4-20 bolt. All these are 1/4-20s, and what that means is they're 1/4-inch bolts, and the thread is a 20. Anyway, so this is a round head bolt, and it worked. It was a lot less intrusive. The hex head bolt is not. When you slide it down here, it hit on the hex bolt. So we were going to put some washers on the outside, and that would work just fine to get the other flat bar spacer out. But then what I actually found was in the hardware store, it's a furniture bolt, and it has a hex head, but it's really flat. And as you can see, we put one here to test, and with that in place, with just one single washer in front of the fender washer here, we have no hitting of it at all. So I think this will work actually quite well. All 3 bolts will work. The only difference that you would have to do is on the front here, between the fender washer and the plate, you would have to add an extra washer in there, maybe 1 or 2 washers, to get past the actual head of the bolt. So I'm going to show you quickly how we put this together. The bolt's going to go through here. The one thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have a spacer. So they make these little spacers that you can buy at the hardware store. This is a 1-inch spacer. The spacer will go through there. Now the other thing you're going to want to put in here is another washer, because that spacer will actually push through the wood. So we want to go there, and then on the back side we're going to want to put a washer and a locking nut with that on there. That's like that. Then we'll go ahead and tighten it down, and that is plenty good right there. Look at that. Done. Why are you trying to be a T-Rex? Crazy kid.
Now it's time to tackle the door. We changed it up a little bit. We're just going to do a frame and panel style and staple 1/4-inch plywood.
It's Douglas fir, so I mean it's still a different species than this. Does that make sense?
We can just paint it. Okay, so we're building the door here. Let's just paint the door.
Man, I think it would look so much better if it wasn't though.
If it was stained.
Wouldn't it be?
It would just stand out a little bit, yeah. But I think it would still look good painted. I'll put a big X in it or something and paint it.
Not going back now. Ready?
Oh, that's not true. You can always paint over anything.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you want to paint over that? That's really pretty. is staining a good choice? Matches John Deere. It's so pretty. Sorry. I still get excited about every project. Yes, I do. Look at how beautiful that is. It was such a good idea to stain too.
Oh man. Look, I put the bowl or that thing in the wrong hole. There, that's better, huh?
Seriously, we DIY'd that? You know what the crazy thing is? We made this in between taking care of a baby, homeschooling another one, taking care of a 4-year-old boy that thinks he's a T-Rex.
Clean the yard.
What else? Winterizing your boat.
It's a sad day when you gotta winterize the boat. You know what I mean? It's like the worst part about summer is when you winterize your boat. Does it work?
What? It actually works?
One thing I don't like is this bottom kind of kicks out a little bit. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of angle iron here.
So our cabinet is done, and I can't even believe how good all the hardware works. We're probably $10 to $20 into this hardware, give or take, and that's being generous. So it's pretty exciting that it actually worked. This adds a lot to the functionality. I'm not sure I like how it looks. I think if I could do it again, I would maybe make this smaller or somehow less obtrusive. But it definitely helps with the functionality of the cabinet and keeps the door in line. Another thought Jacob and I were both worried about is stops that keep the door from just going right off the cabinet. But what happens is it hits this furniture head bolt and it kind of naturally stops there. So it just worked out for us. So we're going to haul it in the room and see how it looks. Thing. Oh, somebody thought of that.
I'm telling you, Airbnb this room.
That would be awkward, wouldn't it?
It'd be a little bit, but maybe they'll put wood in the wood stove for us.
That's like the rent. We could have them paint furniture. That would be sweet. We could have Airbnb, and then part of your stay here is you have to paint furniture and babysit. So this cabinet's done and it's really awesome, and we love how it turned out. The big surprise was the barn door hardware that we made out of washers actually works, and it actually looks really good, and it actually slides. And the door, Jacob's idea was to stain it instead of painting it, and I'm so glad he talked me into that because it's really beautiful and it ties all the elements in the room together. And the microwave and the mini fridge fit perfect, so our guests aren't just going to be treated to a beautiful piece, but something that's very functional as well. This room, I mean, we really wanted to set it up like a hotel, so this cabinet, I think, turns the page from, oh, we have an extra bedroom in the basement, to, oh, we have a hotel room in the basement. So that's why I love it so much. Ton of functionality, also looks beautiful, and it was a really easy build. So you can build it too, and I've got the free plans in the description below.
I mean, we built this project in about 3 hours.
I don't like to give numbers because prices can vary, but honestly it was one sheet of plywood and then some 1x boards and, you know, the little bit that we had into the hardware, so probably about $100 to $150 to build this, and it is awesome. So we just have a couple more really small projects left in this room, and it's going to be done and we'll be moving on. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next Monday.
See ya.